welcome to yet another episode of Friday Nights with Warikoo, a reflective series on questions that I keep thinking about quite often, with no answers, no definite points of view, and a hope that this video and this conversation can create a lot more conversation and debate in the comments in how you think about things, particularly on the topics. Today I want to speak about suffering. And it's a very interesting thing that I've quite often wondered. How important and what role does suffering play in our lives? And there are two things that I quite visibly see, and we all do. One is the fact that we don't per se as humans like the idea of suffering, in the sense that we are constantly working towards avoiding any point of damage, any point of suffering that can happen to us or our loved ones or our world. In fact, our entire endeavor is around how can I minimize the risk or any sort of danger to my identity, my life, my success, and of course of those around me. But at the same time, it's interesting that we crave for suffering. We crave for suffering in the stories that we tell ourselves. For instance, I don't think a soap opera which is about a happy family living happily with each other, having a happy life, doing everything as per a normal, very well balanced family would work or be even a remote success. The definition of what makes a soap opera successful is that it has embedded episodes and instances of suffering planted. It has people that are causing evil. It has plots that are conniving. It has people suffering. It has people going through pain. And that up and down creates that sense of emotion that gets us entangled and hooked on. Or for that matter, would we really think that a person who's never failed in their life to be just as inspirational as someone else who failed and recovered from it? It's almost always as if suffering is a necessary ingredient for us to get inspired, to get motivated, and to be even hooked on to anything that we consume as content or as a story. And that's the dichotomy in my head. We spend all our lives in trying to avoid suffering, and yet suffering is the core component of what we feel attracted towards. And how does that work? I often wonder about this. And then the question in my head is it that we're really trying to run away from suffering, or is it that we're trying to create a story where we emerge from a suffering? Is it that we wish something bad happens to us so that we can get out of it and show to the world that we are successful? Or is it that we never wish something bad happens to us in the first place? And at least personally, there are quite a few instances where I feel I wish something bad happens to me so that I can show to the world that I can get out of that. And I am made of a lot more than what the world thinks. And then the other side of me is like, no, why would you wish something bad happens to you in the first place? Because isn't your entire life about trying to avoid something bad happening to you in the first place? I don't have an answer to that. I do not know where we fall. I do not know why we even feel attracted towards suffering when it comes from someone else's story, and why we so vehemently try and run away from suffering, or at least create a world where there is no suffering for our own selves. And that's my question to you today. What is suffering for you, and how important it is to your own identity? Do you feel that you need to suffer to actually succeed in life, or do you feel that life success is that without suffering? With that question, I'll see you next Friday night, and I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'd love to know what you feel about this in the comments below.